Meeting of the Lake Zurich Village Board. Clerk Johnson, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Poynton,
Here.
Trustee Marks,
Here.
Trustee Riley,
Here.
Trustee Barajua,
Here.
Trustee Wider,
Present.
Trustee Spicone and Shagru are absent and excused.
Okay, thank you. Would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for residents to comment briefly on matters included on the agenda and otherwise of interest to the Board of Trustees. Public comment is limited to 30 minutes in total and up to 5 minutes per speaker. We will take public comments first from the sign-in sheet in the order in which folks signed in. When you step to the podium, please speak clearly into the microphone. Identify yourself with your name and address for the record, and please address your comments to the board and not the audience. So first from the sign-in list, first one is Joanna? Joanne. Okay, Joanna and Brad, I can't read the last name. Allman, okay.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Joanne Ullman, and I'm here with my husband, Brad Ullman, and my neighbor, Ron Cohen, and in the support of some of our neighbors. We live at 315 Whitney Road in Lake Zurich, and we saw the proposal for the Ziggy's Coffee shop at the corner of 22 and Whitney Road, and we do have some major concerns about that. We're mostly concerned about the traffic at Whitney and 22, Ela and 22. We see that the traffic that the 7 Brew in Lake Zurich, the amount of traffic that generated, constant line of cars lined up there, and it looks like it's a big traffic concern. And there also, at that corner, there's a brand new deli going in. We don't know what that's gonna do to the traffic in that corner. And that traffic is at that corners already can be a real traffic issue, especially during rush hour. The road, it can back up all the way from 12 very often. So our main concern is that drive-through, that it's going to exit onto, looks like it's proposed to exit onto Whitney Road, and that if they exit onto Whitney Road, if it turns right, it's going to that light, which that is our only way for our subdivision in and out of that subdivision, unless we go through Paul's Park, which is blocked very often due to many, many events. Triathlons, pumpkin fests, Easter egg hunts. It's every weekend, it's something. And we love it, it's great, but it does cause traffic down that road. That light, if someone doesn't exactly land on the sensor, they could sit there for a couple light cycles, which my husband and I both have to go to work in the morning, and that can be an issue. So if cars are already exiting, it's already a problem. If that Ziggy's allows it to exit onto Whitney, it's going to cause more of a problem if they go right. If they're allowed to go left, they're going through the subdivision, and the only way to exit then is through Paul's Park. We have children, we have young families, we have dogs. We call that, on our street, we call it the walking superhighway, because people just walk around the lake. It's a constant stream of people walking around the lake or biking around the lake. Tons and tons of people walk. Sometimes they use the sidewalk, but very often they don't. They walk on the street. So cars, if they're allowed to exit left, they're going to add way more traffic to that road, and it's going to have to exit through Paul's Park. Again, so many events with children, it's not a good idea. And already, again, our street is, and our subdivision is very plugged up with events that happen at Paul's Park. Adding more traffic there, it's not a good idea. We're asking for two things from the board. If you do agree that you want to go forward with this, you study the traffic. What is that new deli going to do? How can we prevent any more traffic from being added to that intersection? And that you not allow that drive-through to exit onto Whitney Road. If they come in, they're going to have to exit on 22. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Brad, did you have anything to add?
No, here, I'll just, real quick. I'm Brad Allman, 315 Whitney Road, and I'm here to support my wife Joanne. I think Joanne covered all the reasons. One thing we do want to highlight, though, is we see the open lot, and we understand that it's good for Lake Zurich to have a business come in and offer more, opportunity for employment, more opportunity for business within the community. So we do see the advantage. We just really ask that you look to consider the impact to the traffic of that intersection. That is a very congested intersection. That's our main concern, right? All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Next, Ron Cohen.
Good evening to all of you. 325 Whitney Road, Ron Cohen. I speak for my wife, myself, and other neighbors that couldn't be here tonight. I support what they said, but there's a couple of other issues too. One of the things, before you even think about the coffee place going up that has been created, is cars during this construction that we've had for the last 5 months, they don't abide by speed limit per se. With all the dust and stuff, they fly down the street. That creates a problem, okay? I'm a lover of the runners. I'm a lover of people walking and biking. It's a good feeling to have a community be that tight. I think it's wonderful. The problem is when you put a business in an area like that, you're not talking about the community now. You're talking about people that drive by, that want a coffee. They have to go somewhere. That block is an area where to go in and out, as they said, there's really only one entrance and one exit unless you go through Paulus Park. The problem with Paulus Park is Lake Zurich is a great area for events. That park is a big park. They put in a pickleball court, people play. It's good to see. It's got life, and that's wonderful. One of the reasons we moved there is because that community in that area, to me, is different than the rest of Lake Zurich. It's a very tight-knit group of people. They all care about one another. I go a step further. I care about people that don't live there, the people that run or walk their dogs. There are no lights on that street at night. I like that. It makes a warmer feeling. But again, you put a place together for coffee, if it's open till 9 or 10 at night, that creates an issue. The other thing is the light only allows so many cars in and out of that street. Part of that problem is if you have people that want to go for coffee, they don't necessarily follow how to go in or go out. They're in a rush. I see it at other coffee places, and I always question, how do you drive that way? My point being, I think it's going to create some other problems. A lot of little kids. One of the things we've talked about is putting a speed bump here and there on that street because of no lights and people flying down the street. But my, again, major concern is, and as Brad said, I agree, it's good to bring business to Lake Zurich. It's healthy. It brings income in. I think it's wonderful. I think, though, you have to look at the demographic of what kind of people come in and what they're going to do to the community. I do feel there were a lot of little kids. That area's changed quite a bit. At one time, there was an older populace of people like myself there. Now you've got families that have moved in with young kids. I worry. And again, with no lights and with cars on a time, well, we don't live here, we're going to go flying by or do whatever. I think it's an issue that needs to be looked at. As Brad said, what does it give you, but what can it create? The other thing is, as you're driving, going down Rand Road, if you're going one way, you got to make a left to go to this place. So now you got people turning in. They probably won't make a U. They'll probably go down our street and enter there. It's going to create, I feel, issues. And I'd really like to see you guys consider it in the entity of the community that lives there as well. I thank you all for giving me time and hearing me out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Matt Speakout.
Hello, my name is Matt Speakout, so 306 Whitney Road. Honestly, anything that's already been said, I tend to agree with in terms of the traffic and everything. I think it's great to have a business on that lot. I remember when that was Pathland Paints and the hot dog place. So it'd be great to have something there, but my concern is just the fact that it's a drive-through as opposed to a sit-down or other type of business for that. So the congestion, but I won't reiterate the points that have already been made. So thank you.
Okay. Kevin Marketch. Is that right? Kevin, was that Marketch?
You got it. Yeah, Kevin Marketch, 35 Lake Zurich Drive. So same neighborhood. So just the little half moon street that goes off of Whitney. Same thing as all of my neighbors here. So a couple things I'll point out just to add a little additional context. So as people come in, inevitably, they'll want to drive through the neighborhood. The lake's near there, so you just get more traffic of even people saying, "Oh, what's back here? What's over here?" I even feel like we noticed a ton, like with Jack O' Lantern World coming to Paulus Park. It was like everyone found our neighborhood, and all of a sudden there was a lot more traffic there, especially in the fall, that time of year. And so people drive by, or they'll want to then turn on Lake Zurich Drive because you can kind of see a little bit of the lake. We don't have sidewalks, so Whitney has sidewalks on one side of the street. So even for all the people that the neighbors have mentioned, all the runners, all the walkers, the bikers that come through, when they come around that corner, they have to cut across the street. They have to cut across Whitney because the sidewalk only goes to South Shore, and then the sidewalk ends. Now you have to cut across, and you have to go to the other side of Whitney because the sidewalk is only on the other side of Whitney. And so if there's a lot more traffic, if people are coming in, if they're using that, if they're having to turn left on Whitney, or if they're using it to turn around, now you've got a lot of pedestrians that go across when they're walking. And then, and then again, if people come in and just want to see, oh, what's this neighborhood like? A lot more traffic. What's Lake Zurich Drive? There's no sidewalks on Lake Zurich Drive. And so again, being one of the families there with kids who play in the street, and because our kids, it's either they're on the lawn or they're in the street, that would be just another factor and another concern of even just what our sidewalks look like within the neighborhood. And then outside of that, everything else that my neighbors mentioned as well. So thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all I have on the sign-up sheet. If there's anybody else who wants to address the board in public comment, I'll give you this one last chance. If I'm not seeing anybody get up, then I will close public comment for tonight and move on to the president's report. I have one item on the president's report, and that is a proclamation recognizing Diwali, the Festival of Lights. The Village of Lake Zurich recognizes the cultural significance of Diwali, a 5-day festival of lights beginning on October 20th, 2025, symbolizing new beginnings and the triumph of good over evil and light over darkness. The goal of this proclamation is to recognize, highlight, educate, and reinforce our shared community values and honor a specific part of our diverse population. This proclamation then proclaims October 20th, 2025 as the beginning of Diwali and encourages all residents to join in honoring the contributions of Hindu Americans. The full text of this proclamation can be seen on the village website. That's the end of the president's report. We'll move on to the consent agenda. The titles on the consent agenda will be read by the clerk and approved by a single roll call vote. Any item may be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote by any member of the board. Clerk Johnson, welcome back, and please read the titles.
6A, approval of minutes from the village board meeting of October 6, 2025. 6B, approval of the semi-monthly warrant, register dated October 20th, 2025, totaling $1,677,300 $351.78. 6C, agreement with Bradford Killdeer LLC for Second Amendment to Utility Services Easement and Development.
Guess that's it tonight. Okay, are there any board questions, or is discussion desired on any item, or would anyone like to have any item pulled for a separate vote? I'm gonna look down this way first. No? Nobody down here? Nope. Greg? Okay, then I have one comment on 6C. I just want the community to know that this agreement with Bradford at Killdeer is for the Second Amendment to Utility Services Easement and Development for the property at Route 12 in Cuba. The summary for this item indicates that as part of the agreement, Bradford would agree to the land use restrictions established by the state, by the Village of Lake Zurich, the 2015 intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Killdeer for a 50% sharing of sales and municipal property taxes, and the granted easement over Lake Zurich utilities that extend along the periphery of the lot line. This is for Lot 2 of a 4-lot parcel on the corner, and from what I've seen, it's going to be a daycare facility called Gardner School and Daycare. So that's all I have on that particular item. No other questions? Then may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, and a second, please. Motion first,
So moved, Whiter.
Whiter, and a second,
Second, Riley.
Riley. Clerk Johnson, please call the roll.
Trustee Baradwaj?
Aye.
Trustee Marks?
Aye.
Trustee Riley?
Aye.
Trustee Wyder?
Aye.
Okay, consent agenda passes, thank you. We move on to new business, and item 7A is a courtesy review for the proposed drive-through coffee shop at 520 West Route 22. Trustee Marks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In summary, Ziggy's Coffee requests a courtesy review with the Village Board to consider a drive-through coffee shop restaurant at 520 West Route 22. The proposed 2,400 square foot restaurant is designed to operate both as a walk-up and a drive-through concept. The franchise-based restaurant has over 100 locations across the nation.
Okey-doke. Sarosh isn't here. Michael,
Thank you.
I'm going to leave this to you.
Thank you very much. We have with us this evening Mr. Ayush Patel, who is going to share their vision of Ziggy's Coffee Shop for the address. And I would ask them to, or ask him to come to the podium, and your presentation will come up after your introduction.
Good evening. My name is Ayush. It's nice to meet you all, and I appreciate the time here tonight. I'm here with my dad, Deepak Patel. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Deepak Patel. We have experience of retail businesses and some retail shopping center as well. And we are planning to start this Ziggy's Coffee, having the strong that background, and Ayush is representing.
Great, yeah. Just to reiterate, we're here on the behalf of our development team. We have experience in the residential, commercial, and retail space. And yeah, tonight we'd love to just, share a little bit about our vision and how we can leverage our prior expertise to hopefully make this come true in Lake Zurich. So we'll go ahead and get started. Just like how it was teed up a little bit earlier, Ziggy's continues to grow. It has, 100 plus locations across the country, 200 plus in various development phases of development, with 50 expected to open next year. As mentioned, it does have a drive-through as well as a walk-up concept. One thing about Ziggy's that struck us when we first heard about it is their unique offerings, something that does differentiate itself from already established coffee shops such as Starbucks, Dunkin'. We are working with a lot of cool and unique products that, that they offer to their community, to their communities based on wherever they're established. And, you know, something that, as developers, as investors, we were really excited about hearing when we talked to corporate. And, you know, one thing that we like to just point out here, yes, we are proposing a drive-through, but one thing that corporate prides itself in is that they are one of the best drive-through coffee shops in the nation. And it's something that they do well without compromising quality. So, again, just something that I would like for you to consider. It is what we are here to talk about today. And, you know, in terms of, would you like to say something?
Yeah, actually we choose 3 locations. We'll be the first one in Chicagoland market. And we gave them 3 different locations from Naperville, west of the Chicago, and Lake Zurich. They approved this Lake Zurich location as a prime location.
Yeah, that's a great point. It was with the sign off by corporate that they really did like where this location was set up, and thought from a strategic standpoint it was in our favor to continue with moving forward with Lake Zurich. So thank you for that. But, you know, in terms of just the proposed site, this is what it looks like. It may be a little hard to see. Oh, great. You can't zoom that. It's a PDF. But I'd like to, first of all, thank everyone who, you know, proposed their, you know, had something to say about this. It is good to take into account other, you know, insights. And where we're coming from is, you know, the last thing we'd want to do is cause extra traffic, to cause unwanted traffic in certain neighborhoods with families. I do want everyone to consider that, yes, though Whitney, I'm sorry, that's not the button that I wanted. So the entrance point that was proposed, or that was talked about just a little bit earlier from the public comment, is the one right here. And it is an access point, but what I do want to also point out is that we do have 2 other access points here and here from the initial rendering. So I'd just like to point out that, yes, though Whitney can serve, and it will serve, you know, hypothetically as an access point, we do have 2 other ones that are tangent to Route 22, where, you know, most of the traffic would technically come from, just given traffic counts. And but we also want that Whitney side open just for easy access from the community, you know, behind it. You want to say something?
Yeah. And majority westbound traffic, they will never use the Whitney. They will use the Route 22nd, but they have 2 entries over there. And whenever they have to go the westbound, they will never go back on the Whitney. They will go out through the Route 22. And even though if they have to go on Route 12, they will never use Route Whitney Street, because that will be slow street, and they have to go through very slow traffic. So they will come out from the drive-through lane. They'll make a left and go on Route 22nd.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
did you say that they will never use Whitney?
No, majority time they will use Route 22nd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said that they would never use
No, he
Whitney.
did say that. Never is a strong word. It's
Majority time.
from just what probably would make more sense from someone who's coming on from Route 22 would probably go back out to Route 22 on their way. So thank you for that clarification. Just from a bird's eye view, this is what it looked like. Yeah, nothing to really add here.
Barren land going to be a beautiful building.
That's the goal. That's the goal. You know, in terms of, we did have these 2D renderings created for the purpose of this presentation, and what I'd just like to point out is, like my dad said, we do hope to put a beautiful modern building in your community somewhere, a place that would allow for cars and individuals to come up, get their coffee in a timely manner, and go on about their way. So this is what, you know, hopefully we can get it to look like: new brick, modern, just a layout, thank you, modern layout, and just a unique concept is what we're trying to go for here. And just, you know, I just want to reiterate that Lake Zurich, you know, as we as we heard back from corporate, it was a great location from their perspective and is a great location from our perspective. You know, population dynamics are favorable, traffic is dense, as it's already been said, but, you know, as a group and as a community, you know, we do hope to figure out what works best from just a logistical standpoint. And I'd like to point out that it is here to also create business. You know, initial just estimates would show that we would have 12 to 18 part-time employees, 1 to 2 full-time managers, and that's just initial estimates. But we are here to, you know, get the community involved as much as we can, and including create jobs.
Okay.
I think, you know, just from, overall, I mean, something that I recently learned is that coffee shops continue to grow. There's a growing rate when it comes to actual brick and mortar coffee shops, and we hope to lean into this, and that's why we're here to talk about it, because we are, like I said, we're super excited about this opportunity, and it's just, you know, in terms of where the industry is headed, you know, thought it'd be a great ideal time to talk about it. So again, thank you for your time, and we'd love some feedback as we go on about this process. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. I wish you would have had some renderings of current Ziggy's so we could see what the buildings would look
Sure.
like, because I Googled it, and kind of funky looking buildings, but more modern looking.
Sure.
You know, if anybody wants to see what they look like, just Google it, and you can see that. So this is a courtesy review. There's no voting here. We're not doing anything. We're not approving anything tonight. We're just giving you our opinion of that concept, and
Absolutely.
listen to the residents as well. So you want to go first?
I would love to go first.
Okay.
So, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your interest in the Village of Lake Zurich. I like to think that the Village of Lake Zurich is a great place to do business, so I agree with corporate, and I appreciate your interest. My feedback on this issue. So I am very familiar with that location. As the Almonds had mentioned, there's a lot of folks that walk around the lake. My wife and I are two of those people, so we have been there. I also appreciate the gentleman's comment. I used to love Chicago beef and dogs when I was in that location too. It was a great place to go and get Italian beef and a hot dog, so I miss it greatly. With that said, when I was reviewing the packet, even before we had public comment today, I wrote down traffic, and I know there has yet to be a traffic study, and that's part of the process moving forward. But I just want to let you know as we proceed, and I give you my feedback, should this move forward and it comes back to that traffic is going to be the single biggest issue for me, and I'm going to tell you why. I've got a couple of reasons. One, that is it's an odd intersection, at least from my perspective. You know, there's not the straight lines. It kind of moves in a variety of different ways. Increased traffic on there. I see the potential for some challenges. Sure. I would also say that, rightfully or wrongfully, we have another coffee business in town that's doing very well, and you know, and that's great, and we like to see people be successful. But at the time, it has created some, I guess I'll call them unintended challenges for folks that live in that area and folks that shop in that area. There's an awful lot of cars there a lot of times, and there's an impact. You know, I appreciate the fact during your presentation you said, you know, there were quality products, cool and unique products, and I think that has the potential to be very popular. I also think that creates a challenge for the folks that live there. You know, it might be great for your business, but at the same time, the more people who love what you have in a location that has challenges, I think that's something that you're going to have to be. If you're looking for my support, that's an answer to a question that you're going to have. And I appreciated your comment about trying to direct people through Route 22. I've lived in the village a long time, and my experience is customers do what customers want to do. So I appreciate the fact that that you'd be trying to get people to exit that way. I think people are just going to exit wherever they want to exit. That's just my 2 cents. The other concern I have there is pedestrian safety. Now, I think it would be a great location because I think potentially people who are walking around the lake, it's like, hey, let's stop in and get a coffee. I would probably be one of those people. But again, the pedestrian, and again, if you're getting business from all on that side of the street, I think it's great. And I don't know that there would be a lot of pedestrian traffic trying to cross that street at that intersection. I see that being potentially a very, very dangerous, potentially dangerous situation for pedestrians. And again, you know, there's a light, there's this, but I've also experienced people do what people want to do, and you know, sometimes they're not making the best choices when they try to cross the street. So I think that could be a potential problem too. Again, I noticed that your hours, you open every day of the year but one.
That's what it said, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and you are open till 8 p.m.?
6 to
It was, I think, if you were to see it on Google, like 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. is
Okay,
what.
okay,
like,
that's what it said in the
yeah,
packets.
yeah.
That's the reason I asked. So, and again, I get that,
Mm-hmm.
but those are, you know, it's interesting. I understand the appeal because of the location and Route 22, and there's a lot of traffic, but there's a pretty quiet neighborhood just off of Route 22, and this business could potentially, not potentially, it's kind of a, you know, a linchpin to that neighborhood. So I think as you move forward, and if you choose to go through the process, those are questions you are going to 100% have to answer. So my recommendation to you is to do the study, to look at that. If there's alternatives, explore those. I would recommend that if you have the opportunity to go and walk the neighborhood and talk to folks and listen to their concerns. A lot of the folks in that neighborhood have lived in this village a long time.
Sure.
And I think we need to respect that fact. You know, other than that, I would say that, you know, a quality coffee place with unique products is desirable in our village. This may not be, I'm keeping an open mind. It may not be the best location, and I hope that if this is not the location for you, that you continue to look at the village of Lake Zurich for potential other sites. So, thank you for your presentation. I appreciate it, and have a good night.
Thank you.
we are on that process as well.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Jake?
Thank you, gentlemen. I think Greg touched on a lot of the points I was going to make. I'm one of the lake rounding people as well, and that area right adjacent to the property has some pedestrian challenges. And also, I wanted to give you kudos. Like that half of town is not particularly pedestrian friendly, so having a business with a walk-up aspect is actually a great addition to the community. So I wanted to commend you on that. But I think near the end of Whitney, near 22, there is, I think someone in the audience mentioned it, there's an across the street, the sidewalk picks up to take you northeast to continue to around the lake. And I think there will be issues there because I want to roll back a little bit. I would challenge your assumption about Whitney Road, akin to what Greg was saying. People in the community will take that, and they want the benefit of the light if they're heading south down Ela, which plenty of people head towards Chicago, want to go towards Lake Cook whenever 53 returns to sanity. But that's a significant traffic point, and people will leverage that to be able to get across the street and start heading south. And I think you may have mentioned people will make a left out of there onto 22. I think the traffic pattern there doesn't even allow that. You're forced into making a right. So you would have some challenges there about ingress and egress. So I would say, you know, love the walk-up concept. Give some special consideration to how to augment the pedestrian safety in the area. And I would just challenge you, you know, try and think outside the box about an alternative proposal that maybe doesn't even leverage Whitney for the purposes of ingress and egress. sometimes simplicity is the mother of invention. So if you're able to work with your developer to come up with a concept that maybe only has entrances and exits on 22, I think that would get a lot more friendly consideration from the board, as opposed to kind of making that tacit assumption that Whitney isn't going to be leveraged, because I think until you conduct a traffic study, we just don't know that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. William?
Yeah, I'll try not to repeat too much of what's been said thus far. In comparison to maybe one of the newer coffee shops, I think that's a little bit more of a cult following. I was down in Champaign a couple weeks ago, and at 5 a.m. they had 45, 50 cars deep. So I think it's more of a brand thing than anything else. So I'm not as concerned about that. I did do some research on Ziggy's, so it doesn't seem like it has that same cult following. That being said, I 100% agree with the consideration on Whitney. I think we should probably have a walking group. I'm one of those walkers as well. However, I usually get my coffee on the front half at Stockman Grounds or Opry, and so it'd be nice to have something on the other side, you know, as I finish it through. That being said, you know, I would not feel comfortable in any stretch on a left out onto Whitney. At minimum, it would need to be a right out. Because of the jump in the sidewalk that was discussed, as well as I know you had the consideration allowing the folks in that community to have the ability to pull in. I think you probably heard a little bit of it tonight that I think they would prefer to walk there or take the long route than to have cars driving through there. I don't think the benefit of, you know, the 50 to 75 houses that might be back there to your business in comparison to maybe the detriment of the ability of people walking through there and the neighbors there. So just the consideration. Ayush, was a really great presentation, Deepak as well. I think you guys did a really great job. I like the considerations. I like the thought of the business, but trying to keep as much of the traffic flowing in and out of 22 is going to be a big concern. Again, a lot of this will come back with the traffic study, so that will answer a lot of the questions for next go-around.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Sue?
Yeah, no questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
A couple things. First off, I think you're not just a walk-up or drive-up facility. You're a sit-in restaurant. Is that correct?
No,
That's
it's
not correct.
That's solely walk up or drive-through.
Okay, so there's no sit in the restaurant. Okay.
Yeah.
I was under the impression.
It's a 2,400 square feet building, so we'll have two tenants in the building. So second tenant will have dine-in restaurant.
Okay, well, we didn't see that anyplace. So what's the other tenant?
Other tenant will seek for, and right now we have potential of Italian steak and beef.
Were we aware of that?
It's a 2,400 square feet building.
We were not.
I know what it is, but we were under the impression that the 2,400 square feet would be Ziggy's only.
Ziggy's required only 900 square feet because no dine-in, it's only drive-through and pick-up only.
Okay.
So I
Well,
guess
that makes a difference.
before we jump the gun, I think there's flexibility, is what my dad's saying, in what can ultimately be done there.
Right.
Whether it be, you know, yes, a 900 square foot building would allow for just this drive-through walk-in. You know, the moment we, you know, depending on what feedback we receive, if the second tenant's not viable, then we'd have to reconsider. But then, you know, just based off of how much we can truly build on there, on that plot, that
It's 2,400.
2,400 square foot would allow for another tenant as well.
Well, that is a horse of a different color, I think. You got, my initial thought was that with you having, and I was assuming that you were having a sit-down area, but you don't. The difference between yours with a sit-down area and Seven Brew is night and day. Because you have residents around you, close by with that restaurant. Seven Brew has one person who lives behind them. The rest is retail.
Right.
And that traffic messed up the retail around there. You have the potential of not only messing up the retail around there or the traffic around there, but also impeding the living of the residents who live there. So with 2 restaurants there, I don't know where we go with that, so.
Just from a common perspective,
Yeah.
I think the site capacity for 2 restaurants might be something that we'd want to investigate with you.
Yeah.
If I could recommend having a follow-up discussion with staff.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
we can flesh this out a little bit more, because this was a surprise to us this evening. But
Yeah, I mean,
we'll
just
work on it.
Just one comment there. Just from past experience, 2,400 square feet allows for so-and-so. I think that's where we were coming from.
No, we get,
Yeah.
you've mentioned the 2,400 square feet about 5 times. We
Right.
get the 2,400.
Sorry, just from a
square feet.
logistical standpoint, what you can possibly do there is what my dad was referring to.
Okay.
In other
We get
words.
that- We get that now.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
So again, just that was probably jumping the gun a little bit, but
And I agree with all the comments that the
Sure.
trustees made. The problem with the left-hand turn onto Whitney is the same problem that we have at Lifetime. We have a right-hand turn coming out of Lifetime with a prohibition of making a left-hand turn onto Old Rand Road, and people will do it right in front of cops. They'll make the left-hand turn right in front of, and they can't. So when you say initially, your dad said never, but
Right.
they're gonna come out and make a left-hand turn down there. Now, I'm less concerned about that. And by the way, thank you, Whitney and Lake Zurich Drive, for your patience in the construction that's going on there. I hope when it's all done, you wanna come up here and kiss me on the lips, because it'll be so nice. And thank you for the patience you have with all the dust, because I live on Old Mill Grove Road, and one of the previous items that we talked about was the property at 12 and Cuba. We lived with the dust and the dirt from that construction site for 3 years. I haven't washed my windows in 3 years. And then we did the road, and it was dust and dirt, and I know what you have gone through, so I'm empathetic to that. But like I said, you're gonna love when it's all done. It's almost there. We're getting there, right? As for Mrs. Ullman's comment about the deli, you must know something I don't know, because I don't know where there's a deli going there on some previous corner. There's a pre-existing restaurant that's being redone on the other corner at Ela and 12, but I think it had a deli component to it, which is now eliminated, or is that back?
The deli component, the retail deli has been eliminated.
Been eliminated.
So
it's just
it
a
will
plain
be a
old-
restaurant.
Plain old restaurant.
Yes.
Right, which was there before, so. So other than that, I don't know what else, do we miss anything that the residents asked for? No? Okay. And with respect to the comments about Paulus Park, we've invested a lot of money in Paulus Park because the residents have told us that they want that. They want stuff in Paulus Park. And Whitney has been an entryway to Paulus Park. I don't know how long you folks have been there, but it's been there. I've lived here since 1984, and that was a way to get to Paulus Park forever. So that's an argument that I personally don't buy, because it is what it is. But you have the feedback from the board.
Absolutely.
You need to get with staff, with Sarosh and Michael and his staff, and get a few things ironed out, and then make your decision if you want to move forward.
Absolutely.
But thank you for coming tonight. Good job.
Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, that's there was no voting on that, so we move on to 7B. Trustee Riley.
Yes, ordinance authorizing the issuance of $1,385,500 taxable general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2026. In summary, this agenda item authorizes the issuance of $1,385,500 taxable general obligation refunding bond, Series 2026. This one-year bond the one-year bonds are part of the village's overall debt limit and fall within the village's tax cap limit. This is the 15th year for this procedure, which is a component of the village's repayment of the restructured general obligation TIF bonds that were issued between 2009 and 2016.
Okay. Rita?
don't have much to add. Oops. You did a great job summarizing it. The same bank that we had before, Cornerstone Bank, will be purchasing the bond at 6.5%, with the maturity date in October of 2026. We asked for approval for this tonight, so we can add it to the budget for 2026 and the property tax levy, which will come before you next month.
Okay, board, comments? Anybody? Okay, motion?
Yep, I'm looking for a motion to approve ordinance 2025-10-627, authorizing the issuance of $1,385,500 to taxable general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2026, of the Village of Lake Zurich, County of Illinois, Lake County, Illinois, for the purpose of paying certain outstanding general obligation refunding bonds of said village and paying the expense incident thereto, providing the levy and collection of direct annual tax for the payment of the principal and of the interest on of said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof. That was a fun one. Yeah. Whoever wrote that definitely took Latin.
I think so. So we need a motion in a second, so we.
So moved, Whiter.
Second, Marks.
Kathleen, call the roll.
Trustee Marks.
Aye.
Trustee Riley.
Aye.
Trustee Wyder.
Aye.
Trustee Baradwaj.
Aye.
Okay, that
Motion
passes.
carries.
Good deal. Okay, next item. Next item is the Police Pension Municipal Compliance Report and Tax Levy Request. Trustee Wyder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Village of Lake Zurich takes seriously its commitment to properly fund public safety pensions. It's a way to attract and retain talent and show a commitment to our public safety personnel. A well-funded pension system like the one in Lake Zurich provides for the fair treatment of police officers and their retirement benefits. The Illinois Pension Code requires the village to levy a tax each year to meet the actuarial requirements of the police pension fund. The Lake Zurich Police Pension Board requests a tax levy in the amount of $2,767,200 for the village board to consider. Last year, the Police Pension Board requested a levy of $2,509,796, and the actual levy was the same amount. The Police Pension Fund is now 57.2% funded, a decrease of 0.09% on an actuarial value from last year's status of 58.1 funded.
Thank you. Now we're going to hear from Deputy Chief Andy Cyber.
I just wanted to make my yearly opportunity to, thank you for the good working relationship that the police department has with the village. I know that we've worked towards contributing the recommended municipal contribution as opposed to the statutory minimum, which goes a long way with getting favor with the police department and towards reaching that fully funded pension fund. So I do really appreciate the contributions and the support that we have for each other, and it gives us the ability to share expenses, especially with actuarial costs. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Andy. Comments from the board? Anybody? No? No? No, okay.
Okay, so no village board action is requested at this point. This is tax levy request and is for discussion purposes only.
Okey doke. Move on to the next item, which is this one is fire. Sue.
Yes. Okay. The Village of Lake Zurich has a well-funded fire pension fund that offers financial security to public safety personnel during retirement. Offering a solid pension plan is crucial for retaining skilled firefighter paramedics and encourages a long-term commitment to the profession. The Illinois Pension Code requires the village levy a tax each year to meet the actuarial requirements of the fire pension fund. The Lake Zurich Fire Pension Board is requesting a tax levy in the amount of $3,338,600 for the village board to consider. Last year, the fire pension board requested a levy of $3,013,176, and the actual levy was $3,008,404. The fire pension fund is now 69.3% funded, an increase of 0.8% on an actuarial value from last year's status of 68.5% funded.
Okay. And for fire department, we have Spencer Cornell. Spencer.
Yes, sir. As always, I'll be very short and sweet with you here with your time. I'm Lieutenant Spencer Cornell, President of the Firefighters Pension Fund. And as she stated, we are requesting $3,338,600 based off of the actuarial study conducted by Lauterbach and Amen. Thank you all for your time.
Okay, thank you, Spencer. Ray?
Thank you, Mayor. Just as a reminder, this information is presented for your information. Unless you have any other direction or changes in things that you'd like to see, we would be able to incorporate this into the draft budget that we'll be presenting to you in November. And then also it would be reflected in the levy ordinances that Rita and her staff will be putting together, and that will also be coming to you in the next month.
So I have one question.
Yes.
And I'm going to go back to the police. When it said we've made great strides in trying to meet our responsibilities with the pension fund over the years. But the police pension fund is now 57.2% funded. We're used to seeing increases in our funding percentage, but this one showed a decrease of 0.9%. Not a big decrease. So can you explain why that is?
I would have to go back and read through the actuarial study again to see what those differences are. A lot of times it is because we've made change in assumptions, which I know we didn't do this year, but it also could be if the actuarial assumed rate of return is 7.5%, and let's say the fund only made 4%, that's why you'd see a decrease in the actuarial unfunded liability. But I will check into it and get back to you.
Okay.
In the long run, both of these charts, actuarial assumptions are built on being fully funded by 2040, which is our target number. That actuarial projection for both funds reflects the series of retirements. We did have a number of retirements, both in police and fire. One of the other little quirks that sometimes bites us in the butt is it's based on the value of their assets, I believe on December 31st of each year, and if it just so happens that there's a decline in the market value on that date, it is then built into the actuarial assumptions for the following year. So there's been a couple of years where it took a dip right around New Year's Eve and then immediately bounced back the week later. However, that was built into the assumptions, causing increased contributions. So, but the idea is that roller coaster will continue to ride it and then hopefully be fully funded by 2040.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Okay, no village board action on this one as well. So we're finished with the new business items for the night. We'll move on to trustee reports. Are there any trustee reports or stray board comments tonight? Anybody? No? Okay. Any village staff reports? Are there any staff reports tonight? No. Okay, well then that's it for tonight. May I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting and a second, please?
So moved, Marks.
Marks and a second.
Second, Bardwaj.
Sue?
Yes.
I thought you guys wanted to stay here longer.
No.
Okay, thank you. Next regularly scheduled village board meeting is Monday, November 3rd. Stay safe.